Today we're going to talk about basils. Basils are the little growth that you'll see at the bottom of your pot. And people always say, oh, my plant has a baby. Well, it's not really a separate plant at all. It's actually just an extension of the original vine, another branch of vine. So if my finger is your original vine, the basil will pop out just below the media off to the side and it'll make a second branch. So they share the same root system. That's why when you remove basils, you have to pot them up and treat them like a cutting because it will take them several months to root. Now, another thing I hear all the time, another frequently asked question is, why isn't my Nepenthes producing pitchers? It used to, and now it doesn't anymore. Light and humidity are usually the culprit, but I always ask people to look in the bottom of their pot, because if you have basils growing in the bottom of your pot, pitcher production will slow or even stop. For instance, this is a jam band that we've been growing, and you can see all its other pitchers, and I've removed some older leaves. So this is the last older pitcher it has. Nothing is wrong. It's still getting the exact same amount of light that it did before, same amount of humidity, but it's producing two basils in the bottom of the pot. Now, I'm not going to remove these. We actually prefer to have in between 2 to 4 extra vines in each pot, and these are too small to remove anyway. They need to be about 2 inches. Each leaf should be about 2 inches in size. So usually I like to wait until they get close to this. This is a little bit big. So in between this size. Here we have 2 in this pot. So I like them to be about this size or a tiny bit bigger, in between these 2 sizes before we snip them away. Now, the reason for leaving these is because it creates a much fuller plant. For example, this Nepenthes here has 2 vines growing in it, a basil that grew about 8 months ago. So now it's a much fuller plant, and you'll pretty much have pitchers all year round. Pitcher production will slow in the wintertime because of shorter days, but other than that, you'll have several vines you can harvest off of while leaving others to pitcher. So it's always nice to have in between 2 and 4 basils in each pot. If not, put that down carefully there. If not, you'll end up just, having a plant like this with one single vine, because Nepenthes are vining plants. And the lower vine will naturally turn woody, and so you'll have leaves on top. So letting those basils grow definitely makes for a prettier plant. This one has a couple extra basils in it as well. So see, it's a much nicer, fuller plant. When removing basils, we're going to remove this one because I want those 2 in that jam band to grow, and I want this one to grow also. This one has 2, so we're going to remove the larger one. Now, as I said before, your main vine is here, and the basil grows right underneath. So what you want to do is you want to take your fingers and follow it under the media and find where that basil meets the main vine, and then use your snippers and snip it off right there at that point. I'm going to do my best to get you a visual here, but it might be hard. So let's get in here. We're going to move some of this moss. And of course we have an airplane flying by right as I'm talking. That's great. Okay. So if you can see that little basil is connected to the main vine right in there. And we're just going to take our cutters here and find where it meets. And you know what? We're going to use the longer ones. We're just going to snip it and pull it out of there. See? Now we'll take our smaller snippers and let's remove some of these older leaves here. Move that old picture off of that one. Okay, he's a little cutie. Now with cuttings, you want to remove the pictures, but with basils you can leave them because we're going to put a humidity dome on this anyway. The reason for removing pictures and leaves with cuttings is because plants lose oxygen through the leaves, and you want high oxygen, high humidity, so it'll put out roots. But with basils, they root easier than cuttings, so we're just going to leave that. Now I'm going to reach down here, put a little bit more moss in our pot. And we're just going to tuck him away in here. Sometimes I'll use orchid clips to clip down on the leaves here just to hold them in place. But I think this one's going to be okay. So we're just going to tuck him in like that and put a humidity dome on top. A bag will do. Let's see, we also use 2-liter bottle lids. Anything will do really, as long as it has circulation and you never cover the drainage holes on bottom, because that's very important for Nepenthes health. They need that circulation. Now once you have your basil, just put it right next to where you were growing the original plant. They can have a little less light per day than a fully adult Nepenthes plant, but for the most part just grow them right next to the original. Now if you have a Nepenthes plant that's, you know, kind of long and stocky and it hasn't made any basils, there are ways you can induce them. So here we have a Spathulata tobeca. This is a great plant for beginners, by the way. I love this thing. It's very pretty. Purple on the outside, and it gets this iridescent opal color on the inside. I don't know how well that's coming up out here in the light. But anyway, so I want to induce a basil on this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here right where the woody vine meets the green vine. Okay? And I'm going to put a dollop of kiki paste. That's a rooting hormone. And I'm going to put it right here where the woody brown meets the green, where I've removed a leaf. So for instance, if I was going to put it further up the vine, I would put it right here in the spatulated part of this leaf, right there. Right where the, let's see, let me show you here. How we removed this cutting, and then here's the active dormant node. So it's the same thing. We're going to put kiki paste right where this spatulated leaf meets the vine, and that's where the basil will pop up. So you can find kiki paste online. I think we got this on Amazon for $14 or $15. It comes with Q-tips. Don't use them. It just leaves leftover cotton debris. And I use a little artist paintbrush. And you're just going to get a thin layer. It does not take much of this at all. This bottle lasts me years, and we use it quite often. So I'm just going to take a little layer here and go right back. That darn root is getting in the way. Okay. So we're going to take this right here, right where this old leaf was, where a dormant node is, and just brush a thin layer across there. This stuff is quite sticky, so you got to kind of push to get it to stay. And that's it. We're just going to put that thin layer on there. And it could take, you know, a month to 8 weeks for you to start to see growth. And pitcher production will slow. That's normal. It takes the energy from putting out pitchers and puts them into the new growth. So if you don't have pitcher growth and you did before, check the bottom of your pots. Another way to naturally induce basils without using kiki paste is to let your vines hang over the pot, you know, instead of staking them. That triggers dormant nodes to pop down here at media level. You know, these are climbing plants. So if they don't have anything to climb on, it sends a signal, hey, we're not going to make it, send out some other shoots here to save the plant. So you can just let these hang over. It will also stop. If you don't stake your vines, pitcher production will slow or stop as well, because it's now starting to put that energy into making new basils. So stake your vines, use kiki paste, That works, or just let your vines hang over the pot, and within 3 to 4 months you should see basil growth at the bottom. I hope this helps. If you guys have any questions, you're welcome to PM me or to leave your comments down below. Thank you guys, and happy growing.